finance director ago, and then I changed the years that we used to
Thank you, sir.
did our re-rate.
I didn't want to go in.
That's it. As far as I know, I'll look again.
Giving her like a
Everybody ready?
Okay, well, good evening. We will call to order the meeting for the Shenandoah City Council, Wednesday, June 13th, 2018 at 7 p.m. Call the roll and notice that everyone is here with the exception of Council Member Ron Raymaker, who has called in and is excused. He had a family emergency, and our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family. I'm going to stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance, and if you'd like to stay standing with me, I'll say a quick invocation for us after that. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
honor the
Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Dear Lord, we just want to say thank you for tonight. Thank you for all these folks that came tonight to be a part of this community. Please be with those of us that can't be here tonight, especially those of us who are dealing with a troubling situation. Let them know that our thoughts and prayers are with them. Thank you for your grace, your kindness, your love. Thank you for loving us imperfectly, even though we are imperfect people. We're going to make mistakes, but we try our hardest to get it right as often as we can. Pray these things in your Son's name, and all God's people said,
Amen.
Amen. Okay, well, thanks again for everybody who came tonight. We're going to move right into item 5, which is citizens forum, and we only had one person sign up, and that's Mr. Randy Johnson from the Montgomery County Hospital District. Mr. Johnson, come on up. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you very much for allowing me to speak.
Yes, sir.
As said, I am Randy Johnson. I'm the CEO of the Montgomery County Hospital District. And last month, the council graciously approved the hospital district moving one of our ambulance units into your vacated station. It's going to be a fantastic opportunity for us to better serve the community. I think it's going to be it will really build the closeness of our ability to be able to better serve the community. This year we're going to do about 70,000 runs around the county over the year. That's about 185 runs per day. It seems like almost all of them are in this area. We've got lots of units around the area, but the traffic has gotten so bad in the area that it's very difficult for us to make response times. And if we can't make response times, people that have strokes, cardiacs, and trauma are going to have lots of problems. And so our unit being able to be stationed in this station is going to tremendously help us better be able to make our response times. It's very important to us that we have an extremely good working relationship with Shenandoah. We've always enjoyed our relationship with the police department here. They're exceptional. They do a fantastic job. We're planning on being able to move into the station by the 1st of July. We've got some alarming and some IT equipment that we'll be putting in, and then the station is fantastic. It's ready to go. So we work very hard to do a good job with quality. We also work very hard to make sure that our medics are compassionate and empathetic. Because I firmly believe that no matter how good a job we do with quality and with quickness, at the end of the day, people remember how you make them feel more than what you've done and what you've said. So I want this to be a partnership. I want you to be eyes and ears for me, and I want to make sure that we're able to give the best service in the area that's possible. And if you have any recommendations for ways of improving, I would like to know. Once again, thank you so much for this. I think this is going to be tremendous. I look forward to a long relationship.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you coming. And
Thank you, sir.
Before you leave, I'd love to get your contact info and give you mine as well.
I'll pass it around.
Perfect. Thank you. Welcome to Shenandoah. We're glad you're here.
Glad to be here.
Okay, perfect. Well, from there, we will, and as y'all know by now, if you didn't sign up to speak at the first Citizens Forum, we will have a second one. So feel free. We'll move into item 6, which is discussion and possible action regarding the following ordinance. An ordinance of the City of Shenandoah. Thank you, sir. Authorizing the suspension of the effective date for an additional 90 days beyond the June 19th effective date proposed by Entergy Texas Incorporated.
Make a motion to approve the ordinance.
Second.
So I have a motion by Councilman McLeod. I have a second by Councilman Broad. Do we have any discussion?
Can we get a brief summary from Bill?
Sure. We are a member of the group of cities serviced by Entergy. Whenever Entergy asks for a rate increase, it goes to the Lawton Law Firm and their set of consultants. They look at the proposed rate increase along with their consultants, and if they believe that the rate increase request is too high or totally unjustified, then they will oppose that at the Public Utilities Commission. By law, that is a service that is free of charge to the cities. The Lawton Law Firm is actually paid to oppose rate increases by Entergy. It's a unique set of circumstances. And so the Lawton Law Firm, as they typically do, has asked us to suspend the rate increase for 90 days while they look at all the underlying and backup data and decide whether they want to oppose this.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Item 7, discussion regarding the Civic Club. This is discussion only. Item A, organizational structure, and item B is bylaws, and I believe this is is this you, Councilman Brock?
Myself and Mr. Fletcher, yes.
I'll just let you run with it then.
Well, we had a very good meeting last night with the Civic Club. After they got through the regular business, we talked about reorganizing, going from a board to officers and bylaws rather than a resolution. That's coming up, and we have to do that at the end of June or whatever. So we're going to charge Mr. Farabee to, and we've got a list of things that we want to do here to start with, and then we'll take it back with take it back to the Civic Club. What they want to do is they want to have a president, possibly, and a vice president and a secretary. Debbie will be treasurer. They want to have two-year term of that, and a consensus to handle the membership, whether we have a full membership and then a partial membership. What they're worried about is someone coming in that has an agenda or something that's important to them come in and vote on something that the whole group doesn't really know anything about. So they thought one has to be a member of the Civic Club, and there'd be a trial membership for the first 6 months. They could interject and meet with and discuss anything, but they couldn't vote. That's one possibility. I don't know legally how we can do that, but we'll leave that up to Bill. And certain requirements, we don't want we thought that the president should not vote, that there have to be 5 votes to constitute a quorum, and if one of them abstains, then the president would break whatever the tie there was. So I brought these papers in front of you just to give you an idea. What I left, or we told them, and Ted, you would have a moment to talk too if you want, that we'd bring a draft to them at the next meeting. So we got 30 days to come up with something. Ladies were very excited about it. They love the fact that they all have a voice. no, or have something to say about it. And the new people, we've gotten several new ones, and your mother was very instrumental. She's a fine lady. And, so they're excited about it as well. So we've got some representatives from Tuscany Woods, and they've all got new ideas and new things to do, and this is a good thing. So Ted, if you got anything else you want to add? Or?
No, I think you summed it up pretty well.
Councilman Broad, if, just to be clear, they want to see a draft of the bylaws by their next meeting?
Right.
Okay.
I mean, we got, what I got here is what they anticipated.
Okay.
But legally, that we don't know what's legal, what's not, what we can do, what we can't, so.
I've got a couple of questions on here. In terms of the leadership, is that proposed that they internally elect those, or are one or more positions appointed by city council?
No, I think it's internal, was their intent.
Okay.
We'll still have 2 positions from city council, but they want to rotate them as well.
Well, and that was going to be my next question. The 2 city council members will automatically be full voting members, correct? Regardless of how many meetings you might attend?
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
all right.
I mean, I'm glad to see this. I'm certainly glad to see Civic Club is moving forward in a very positive direction.
Oh, they are.
And I think that's a great thing. I wonder if this is actually going far enough in terms of still maintaining so much city control and city influence. If making the Civic Club a little more independent, maybe forming its own group might be a better long-term approach.
We didn't talk about that, I figured.
Yeah. Well, we're here for discussion. I think that's
good.
That's something that we really ought to think about is we've got this group that is sort of this quasi, and it always has been this sort of quasi-governmental agency where we're spending governmental dollars, but yet they spend it in little ways that are different, but we're not gifting it to them. We're sort of spending it our way. And some of the back and forth and the fact that we say, well, you have to have 2 council members on there. Why? Would it be better served, and again, as a point of discussion, to have a separate 501c3 type organization? Maybe there's better tax organizations for them to be under, but an organization that basically would operate independently. They would simply say, hey, these are the events we'd like to do this year. This is the budget. We're going to be serving the community. Would you be willing to pay for these events come budget time? And the city the city council would decide yes or no.
So I brought up 501c3 as well, and I think that I kind of like where you're going with it being a separate entity that may be the city, and I don't even know how that works, Bill, if the city can contribute to a separate charitable donation, if that's even legal.
There are certain restrictions on that.
Yeah. The one thing I would caution is I don't want to get it too far away from the city, because what if, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, what if the Civic Club that particular year, could be 5-10 years down the road, said, you know what, we don't want to do the Easter egg hunt anymore. And the city council said, well, no, we like doing the Easter egg. Yeah, we don't want to do that anymore. We're not going to do that. And we're our own separate entity, and we can do whatever we want to do. So I think that we still need to be able to maintain a little bit of direction, but not the firm grip that it's been in the past.
Well, and that's been, so that's been a concern I've had for a number of years, and so I'm really glad to see that council's looking to, and the Civic Club is actually leading this charge of.
Yes, they are.
Of becoming a little more independent in terms of how they operate.
Ted and I brought it up, and they ran with it. So,
yeah, I think it's fantastic. I also have a concern, Bill, about a staff member being the treasurer for a Civic Club. Is that, again, it depends on how, in some days, depending upon who you ask, the Civic Club is a department of the city. And some days it's this quasi-independent group that kind of operates and the city gives them money.
From the city attorney standpoint, just pure legal, I like the fact that a city employee is the treasurer. as long as city council is going to budget money and give it to the civic club, it allows the city to maintain a certain amount of control, which from a pure responsible point of view, I don't think it would be good for the city to say to the civic club, here's $50,000. And as the mayor said, a good example, they said, well, we're not going to have an Easter egg hunt this year. We're not going to have lighting of the angels event. We're not going to have this. And
Well, then they wouldn't get.
what's happening to our $50,000?
Well, they wouldn't get paid for that money, of course.
Well,
I mean, it's like anything else we would have.
Or there's a $50,000 Easter egg hunt. And so if city council's going to budget money, I think it's incumbent upon city council to maintain some level of oversight. I don't like necessarily the word control, but I mean, we need to know what's happening to the money.
So I know when I was first elected, I had this conversation with you, Bill, about possibly looking at separating Civic Club out to being its own entity, and whether we looked at a 501c3. And I think at the time, as we went through and looked at it, it was a 501c6.
Six.
Right, yeah, that's what made the number may be wrong. but-
To your point, Mayor, in serving on the board of nonprofits in the past, if an organization contributes money for a specific event, then it has to be used for that event. So it kind of goes back to the golden rule: he who has the gold makes the rules. So if you're given the money, you can direct it however you want it. So not that, we need to have overbearing control, but obviously there's certain things that we're giving the money to be used for, and so Civic Club would be responsible for using it for those purposes.
Well, and frankly, right now, the Civic Club could say, we're simply not going to we don't have enough volunteers, we're not going to do Easter egg hunt. We can't do it this year.
And that's exactly it. It's all volunteer driven.
It's not going to be like, it's not going to be that situation where it's always going to be, regardless of whether we maintain the current structure or the current council control structure or have them more independent, it's going to end up being the same comment.
What's the thought process for not making it a 501c3, Bill? As opposed to 501c, I mean,
Well,
I think there are a lot of.
Ted is correct, it's a C6
Well,
if
that's
I
what,
recall.
exactly, so why not make it a C3? I think there are a lot of residents that would like to donate if it was tax deductible.
Well,
I know I would like to
They
donate.
could as a
C6 is tax
C6
deductible,
is
too.
not tax deductible.
I-
C6 is not tax deductible.
I don't have all of those rules memorized. The city has a problem right now, and the best example is the scholarship fund. The city is prohibited by law from contributing to something where only one person benefits. And so you find yourself, if the Civic Club wanted to be sponsoring the scholarship fund, then you have a potential conflict there. What dollars went to, was it city dollars that went for the scholarship, or was
Well, that's
it-
why we want the scholarship out of the city's hands.
Right,
So,
correct.
I
That's
just
it.
looked it up,
Yeah, I did
501c6
too, yeah.
organizations are not
Not
deductible as
deductible.
charitable contributions on the donor's federal income tax return.
I'm not sure why it wouldn't be a C3 if it's a community organization
You
for the
can
benefit of
do,
the community.
well, the city has certain limitations about being able to contribute to a C3.
Okay,
That was
so
my question.
here's the thing, so it's not
That's-
really a contribution, it would be a fee for
It'd
services.
be a contract.
I mean, we contract with them to provide services. It wouldn't be a donation, it would be you're gonna do the Easter egg hunt, it's gonna cost $6,000, here's $6,000. You're gonna do the Light of the Angels, it's gonna cost $15,000. Here's $15,000, report back to us on. I mean, it's a contract like we contract with for-profit companies.
I mean, there's all kinds of things that we can do.
Okay.
I mean, there's lots of options.
This is step one of the process.
Right.
I'd like to really, that'd be on my hit list, because I think number one, I think people would just in general donate to the Civic Club.
Yeah.
But especially on the scholarship front, I think people would,
Well, that's gonna be a separate C3, right? I mean, it's a whole separate organization.
It certainly could be.
It could be, but it's not right now.
It's not right now.
Yeah.
But I thought we were making it a 501c3.
We're taking steps.
Taking
for
steps,
that.
okay.
So, I mean, no matter what the organization is, bylaws will be needed, so these.
This is true.
Oh, yeah, all this is good.
It's
Yeah.
a great step.
And I definitely support having, but I want Bill to have some guidance, because there's a little difference about setting up a board but within the city versus a more independent.
Is there a need for automatically to have 2 council members part of the board?
No, by
It goes
law,
back to
no.
oversight.
I mean, if we have a staff member that attends every meeting and can report to us, we'll have opportunities at budget and other opportunities to provide oversight. And we could all, as residents, we could attend and become members on our own volition, right?
That's
Unless
true.
there's a quorum.
Well, as long as we're not discussing city business.
Even if there's a quorum, we can post it.
Yeah.
It would be difficult. Maybe we just say only 2 will go.
But 2 different ones could go. Like I could go one night and Charlie could go the next time. We can all kind of get a sense of a flavor of what's going on. But I like the idea, though, of it being more independent. I would like, if we go the independent route, the 501c3 route, we ask them to have one of their officers be somebody that would basically be a city liaison. And whether that's the president by default or another named individual, there should be somebody that I can call up as a council member and say, hey, what's going on?
So, Bill, how much work would be duplicated if you drafted these bylaws and then a month from now we agree, the Civic Club comes up and we agree that they should become a 501c3?
Very little. I mean, if the Civic Club and City Council is in agreement on kind of the structure is good for one organization as it is another.
I'd propose that we move forward with these drafts and then ask 1 or 2 members from the Civic Club to come and have an open discussion with us at a future council meeting.
Yeah, I'd be good with that. I mean,
Okay.
I'd just like to pull some of the city control off of.
Yeah, I mean, there's very few things that government is good at. I think that getting more control into the neighborhood for Civic Club is worthwhile.
Yeah, that's my goal.
I do have one question. Do you want me to draft these such that the treasurer will be a city employee, or
No.
or that there will be a member who is city appointed, not necessarily holding office?
I'm okay with a city staff member being kind of ex officio, not even
Okay.
necessarily voting.
Okay.
But there to
Just present.
report back
Just to,
and whatever requirements need to be implemented in terms of maintaining some oversight, that would fall under that.
We've had that staff liaison over the years, and that helps them understand our purchasing policies and other things, you know, if ordinances come into play, so.
well, and even with scheduling and things
Yeah.
like, you know, when it comes to what staff is willing to do, what staff's able to do, when it comes to things like setting up Light of the Angels, I mean,
Right.
there's things that staff,
Staff is involved
you
in
know,
automatically.
the moving heavy equipment out of the way and that kind of thing, and maybe setting up some stuff if decorations are really high, need a bucket truck or something. But otherwise, most of our events need to be and really ought to be volunteer driven. I mean, we need to minimize the staff.
So- I agree, but also think that, and this is something we can talk about with the Civic Club directly, but if there's trouble getting volunteers, I think that a request could be made to council of can we increase the budget
Sure.
and not saying add additional load to our current staff because they are doing.
Bring in some
a lot,
temporary, yeah.
but find ways to continue the events, even if we have trouble getting volunteers.
We talked almost a half hour just on new things that they want to do and structuring,
Great.
how they do things, whether they have this, not a board, but the president and vice president go to a chairman's and they have people underneath them, sort of like a block captain or whatever. They're very excited about it. They're ready to change and move ahead to get volunteers.
Awesome.
In fact, they had just the Too Cool for School, they had Saturday, they had 3 people came up and want to volunteer. So we're going to go ahead with a pad, much like this. If you want to volunteer, your name, phone number, and where you live, and go from there.
Make sure it's a pen, so not pencil.
Exactly. Well, we're going to have a form. I'm going to build a form.
I definitely think that having the ability for all members to vote will give some ownership to
Absolutely.
volunteers that has been lacking.
Unanimously, they were unanimous in that.
Yeah.
And I do like the idea of having some, you gotta have some skin in the game before you get a vote, though.
That's,
That absolutely.
But you don't
is.
have to have, be on the correct political side.
No, agree.
oh, no,
That's
no,
the whole
absolutely
point.
not.
If
That
you-
diversity is great.
Yeah,
absolutely.
you
it's-
want that. And that's part of the thing, is to get politics out of Civic Club. Get the Civic Club back to being community for the community, by the community, and bleached of all the politics.
Mhm.
Okay,
good.
any more discussion? All right, good stuff. We will move into item 8, which is discussion and possible action to approve changes to the city attorney contract.
Make a motion to approve.
I got a motion by Councilman McLeod to approve.
Second.
I got a second by Councilman Brott. Do we have any discussion?
Now you can tell us what's going on.
Yes. O'Donnell, Farabee, and Medley was acquired by CKR Law effective June the 1st.
Oh,
So we are now a member of a 150-man law firm in many states and several countries. But by law, if a change like this, city attorney is appointed by ordinance. So when the name of the firm changed, we needed to change the name of the city attorney to be CKR Law.
Does
So-
that mean from June 1st to June 13th, you aren't billing us?
yeah, it's fault free.
Yeah, sure.
So my only question with that would be, does that mean that CKR Law can change at will who represents us? Or do
No,
we still?
I'm a partner at CKR.
Because that's not in the
Okay.
ordinance.
Law.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
it's simply a name change, but by law, we have to do that.
And you have to change all your stationery.
Yes.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Item 9, discussion regarding updates to the thoroughfare plan.
If you want a quick summary, this is the a general update to the thoroughfare plan that was presented last month. 2 changes were noted by council. Those changes have been made, and this is the updated. One was the grade separation at 45 Vision Park and Shenandoah Park Drive was removed. And a little section on Grogan's Mill was changed. The colors changed from a major arterial to a minor arterial.
Nicely done.
So those changes were made. Staff has wanted, council has some discussion of what the next step should be and who it should be presented to in what order to get this finalized.
I like the steps that staff laid out in the report. Discussed tonight, let's move towards a town hall meeting. My guess is this is probably not enough to support an entire town hall meeting, but there's probably some other topics that we could include.
Agreed.
And then the P&Z, and then back to us. Civic Club is a good idea. Yeah.
So Councilman Brott had a good point here. He pointed out there's still, and I guess I didn't catch this last time, but it looks like we have a minor arterial future plan goes through off of David Memorial into the ETJ across the railroad tracks? Is that what that is?
Oh, yeah.
Right, and that's based off of, Derek, correct me if I'm wrong, that's based off of the county's plan. If you want to step in with any additional information.
All right, you're talking outside the city limits there?
Yes,
It's in the
it
ETJ.
goes into our ETJ.
Right along the railroad. You're gonna have to cross or go under the railroad at some
Right.
point.
Yeah, so yes, that Joseph's correct, that those are from the thoroughfare plan for the county. That's why they're in there. I guess you could have conflicting thoroughfare plans between the two possibly.
It's actually in the Conroe ETJ.
Well, it is in their ETJ where it comes off of David Memorial, but then it goes into our
Yeah,
ETJ,
yeah. Goes into our city limits where it connects, right?
where it connects to David Memorial's in our
Right
city
there.
limits.
Over here? Yeah, right
Yeah.
there, right in the center of the screen.
Huh.
What- Is there a bridge? Is there a,
As far as I know, there's nothing planned. Again, it's just a thoroughfare plan
Okay.
as far as what the
Well, could
county
we-
would like to see as far as future.
But could we
Crossing.
take that connector off of our thoroughfare plan since that's in our city limits? In other words, they could build that road in the Conroe ETJ all they wanted,
They
but
could
it
build
doesn't
it up
come,
to your city limits.
doesn't come
to-
across
to
the railroad
nowhere.
tracks.
we have to deal with UPR
yeah.
anyway, so.
I could certainly see taking that piece off. I'd have to think about it, but I don't know if there's even an issue of maybe just not showing that whole section. It's more just for informational purposes of how the county's thoroughfare plan ties into the city's thoroughfare plan. So it's not necessarily saying that the city's supporting those sections. It's actually hatched differently to show that it's county's information.
The main function of the thoroughfare plan is to let developers know where they need to contribute right away to us. And if we leave it on here, we take it off, there's not going to be a difference in the right of way.
Except for the developers along that potential future road think that it's going to connect to David Memorial.
Right. They would probably think that anyways because it'll be shown to connect on the county thoroughfare plan.
Well, if they're smart, they'll come check with our thoroughfare plan.
But I think it's worthwhile to look into it more. I'm not necessarily opposed to that, but we haven't actually discussed making that connection.
So I would say because it's representing the county's thoroughfare plan, if you didn't want to see it on there, you'd almost want to take all of the county's
Off.
roads off. So we're not misrepresenting what their thoroughfare
Well,
plan shows.
but then we're not
We just check-
partners with them as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I talked with Jim Clark at the Eagle Forum when he was up. In fact, he stood there back by the wall and I talked to them a little bit about that. And I know they have great need to take either Tamina or this over to 1314, which means bridge over the San Jack and everything.
Right,
there.
yeah, lots of money.
Lots of money, but they're willing to do that. Okay. And I think Tamina is the corridor. I don't know what this road is going to be. We didn't discuss any of that. That's why I brought it up. It wasn't even on the radar at that time. So.
Okay. Well, I certainly can.
But now Jim's gone as well, or will be.
Yeah, I certainly
Yeah,
can
it was
double check it with their plan, make sure that we're not misrepresenting anything there, but I'm pretty sure that is how it's shown in there.
Okay. Thank you.
The only other ones outside the city limits is the David Memorial Extension, and then the one on the east side of the railroad tracks is what it looks like.
Yeah.
I guess there's some that are dots.
I think dots stand for, actually, when you look at the.
Yeah, future
budget,
Montgomery County
County.
arterial.
I think they separate it for future and proposed, I guess.
Yeah, the red hash is future major arterial, and the dots just are generic future Montgomery County arterial.
I'm
Okay.
good either way.
Yeah, I'm fine with it, I guess, for now, but that does cause me to pause. I don't want a road coming out right there going to 1314.
No.
Do you?
I'd be willing to look at it. I mean, there could be some advantages. There's going to be a Hardy Toll Road extended. That could be an advantage for our residents to get off the Hardy Toll Road and come home a little bit quicker. Providing greater access to our businesses. I think I mean, I wouldn't dismiss it out of hand. I would-
No, I'm not saying that, but I also think that you have a large influx of people from the Woodlands coming that direction to try to get over to the Hardy Toll Road, which means you've got more traffic and congestion coming through our city.
That's true. I'm not sure David Memorial can support any more traffic.
Right, or
Tame that intersection now. It's kind of pretty brutal.
send them up to 242 to connect.
That's where it needs to connect.
That's where it needs to connect, and it's where all that traffic should go through that. Those roads are built to handle it, and they're not residential, like commercial.
Okay. Any more discussion?
What are we doing?
It was just discussion.
Oh, are we gonna leave the road on there, or are we gonna?
No, I
Erase it.
think Derek's got a good point. I think we can't, if we're gonna take it off, then you gotta take everything from the county off, so I think we just leave it on there.
Well, the
for
stuff
now.
that's in our city limits we can erase, and leave the rest of the county on there, and it just looks like a road to nowhere, which is fine. I mean, we can erase the stuff
So
that's in our city
You can take
limits.
that one small piece off, I would say.
That one little tiny little squiggle that's in
If
the
if
yellow.
that's
It's gonna
important to
connect
you.
What do you recommend?
I mean, like Byron was saying, the purpose is more just for
Informational.
informational purposes when they're platting properties and things like that. It's not necessarily the city saying they are promoting that connection or anything like that. So I would leave it on there, but
Fight that battle later. Okay. I'm good with that.
As long as everybody understands that's what the thoroughfare plan's for.
yeah, that's the definition of a thoroughfare plan.
Right.
So then we'll get we'll look at schedules and get a town hall meeting on the books coming up.
Do we want it to go to P&Z, or are we going to do the town hall first, according to this? Does it matter to you?
Z probably ought to take a look at it.
Just as a presentation, as an
I
update?
imagine we can't get a town hall meeting scheduled quick
Yeah.
enough to, no reason to avoid being so.
Right.
Okay, do
They
we
can
want
go there
to,
twice.
do we want to combine any other topics
Mhm.
with that for a town hall?
I think yes. I mean,
I bet you and the mayor can figure that
Figure it
out.
out, all right.
We'll just show up.
Yeah, I guess let planning and zoning look at this next month and
All right.
figure out when we get up town hall.
okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Derek. Okay, item 10, discussion and possible action to approve the TML IRP re-rate exposure for the
Mayor
upcoming year.
Mayor and council, this is just one of those standard annual agenda items that I have to present to you guys. Texas Municipal League Intergovernmental Risk Pool is our insurance pool for our liability, property, vehicles, equipment, and workman's comp. Every year, we have the option to increase our limits and deductibles with our re-rate exposure that me and Joseph work hard on. We have opted to keep everything the same as last year, with the exception to the increase to our real and personal property. This is due to the additions, like Word Plant 4, stuff like that. So this is just to basically see if you guys want to stay with the same limits and deductions, or if we want to go higher or lower. I provided a snapshot, but if you guys want to see the full document, I do have it in my office, but it's very big, so I didn't want to include the whole thing on the agenda report.
Okay, do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion to approve by Councilman Beavers.
I'll second.
I have a second by Councilman Fletcher. Do we have any discussion? All in
So,
favor?
hang on.
No, we have discussion.
We do.
There's a pause.
Animal mortality,
What?
animal mortality. Bill?
It's if we had like a canine unit.
It's for our animals.
I believe,
Okay.
yeah, that was the understanding I got when I asked about it too.
Okay. So we don't have to worry about such things. All right.
Good point.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Item 11, approve the minutes for the April 11, 2018 regular meeting and the April 25, 2018 regular meeting.
Make a motion that we table both of these. There are some changes that have been, or some possible changes that have been brought to attention. And I'd like to when we get to council inquiry, I'll talk about having a longer discussion about how to make changes to these, or if we should, or how we should record such things.
Seems like
That's a
now's
long,
good time.
that's a long motion. You're just going to motion to table?
No motion to table right now.
Do I have a second on a motion to table?
I'll second.
Okay, Blackman.
Okay, so we have a motion to table by Councilman McLeod. We have a second by Councilman Beavers. We're going to have some discussion now.
Hey, can we go ahead and discuss
Yeah.
what changes? We don't have to
Absolutely.
wait till
It's
we-
part of the agenda
Yeah.
item, so.
Yeah.
So there's a couple changes. One, we've got on both of these where it says call up roll, it says Mayor Wheeler stated for the record that.
Right, that what?
Yeah. So, and I listened to the video and it seemed to me that what you said was it looks like everybody's here on both cases. So we just need to say something like stated that everybody was here. The other question was, and this is really an attorney commentary, is to say, at what point do we need to be recording or reporting citizen comments?
By law, we do not have to report citizens' comments. And frankly, I'm against it. It's obviously up to city councils and your decision. We now have live stream video of our meetings. Someone can see the video. We have the audio of our meetings. So your meetings are as transparent as they can be. The law simply requires that the minutes reflect the actions of city council.
Okay.
My trouble is with reporting citizens' comments is how do you report them? If someone says Councilman X or the city attorney or the police chief is a liar, a crook, whatever outlandish thing they want to get up and say, which by law they can get up and say, are we supposed to report outlandish things? Flip side of it is, then is it, if we say, well, no, we'll water it down, well, how does the city secretary decide what's a fair representation of what was said? And whatever, I suggest that whatever she decides, someone's not going to like it.
Yeah.
Yet, if you want to know exactly what's said, you have audio and you have video and you can see it. So personally, it's a city council decision. Staff will do whatever you want. You are not restricted by what you put in the minutes. It's just from a legal standpoint, I think it makes it very difficult to quote accurately summarize what someone has said.
So I think there can be a difference between a personal character attack and then bringing up something that when a citizen is frustrated with one or all of us. I think there's a difference, and Courtney, I know we're putting you in a really difficult position. I think it is worthwhile to at least try. At least try to put something in the minutes that would point the public to the
Directly to
video.
who they're speaking to.
So like on April 25th, Mike and I both got an email from, I think Rich was on the email too, from a resident who spoke. And in particular on April 25th, there were two residents that spoke. They were upset with me. And I think that it is worthwhile to put in the minutes that they were speaking specifically about me. And the public can then go to the video and see.
To try and capture the spirit of what was said without being verbatim.
Yeah, and really enough to, we have all this other data available that you can actually go verbatim and see it. You can see the context, you can see everything if you watch the video.
Right.
But have enough to prompt somebody to go to the video. We could swing all the way to make the video our official minutes.
Well, we don't need to do that. but for citizens' comments.
No, but we don't have to have minutes if we have the video, like.
Well, yeah.
We can adopt the video as basically our replacement to the minutes.
This is
but,
true. We could just list, this person spoke and this person spoke and this person spoke. And if you want to see exactly what they said, it's on the minutes.
I personally think it's worth doing something to give some context into what they were. Mrs. Houston and Mr. Wormath were very upset with me on that night, and I think it's worth it to the public to see that there are citizens that were upset with me as an elected official.
If they name names, to name names. If they use bad words, then maybe we don't put that in there.
Right. And if they go onto a personal attack, maybe just say they were upset.
They were upset with this
Councilman
person.
Beavers, but.
So I understand the spirit of what we're trying to do. My only concern on that is how much extra work that we're asking staff to do. On average, how long, back when we used to try to transcribe minutes, would you spend going through back listening or watching? And I mean, we're talking a couple hours, 3-4 hours? Yeah.
However
Basically a
long the
day.
meeting was.
I mean, it's, well, at least as long as the meeting, if not longer. I mean, you gotta watch the whole
rerun.
deal, and then you gotta go back and stop, pause, do. So, I mean, that's a lot of work for staff. If we really want that, I think that we need to be willing to spend the money to go back to the service that provided it. Or, I think the other option is, and I'm not a techie guy, so I don't know how, I may be asking for something, Chris or Courtney, that's impossible to do, but what about in the minutes, we put a link to the YouTube video at that time? So that, in other words, and we don't have to put it on every single agenda item, but maybe on some of the key items.
It wouldn't be that hard to do.
You could put,
The right way to do that would be to basically we pay for the service that we considered at the last budget time. It's already broken out, every agenda item, so we're not asking staff to pick the agenda items that are important to link.
Well,
yeah. It would be.
It's not hard. It wouldn't take long to.
And that's what we need to look at doing.
It's like 12 agenda items, 13 agenda items. It's fine when that discussion starts and set the link. And you could do the same thing. We can say
13 tonight, we've had 28.
Well.
Yeah, but we're only talking about the council inquiry.
And you could just do.
I mean, the citizen comment part.
And you can just do 3 or 4 citizens. Joe Bob spoke.
No, I disagree there, because if you're only going to do it for a citizens forum, then at some point somebody's going to come back and say, well, I wanted to hear exactly what Councilman Fletcher said and why he didn't approve that sidewalk, or I mean.
Well, YouTube's pretty intuitive. You kind of click along.
I think possibly a generic statement that you
Go to the video.
If you want further, you could go to the video. I think that would cover the whole.
Here's a concern I have, and I'm going to ask Bill to jump in if I'm going in the wrong direction, but we have to have minutes as part of our permanent record, but we don't know how permanent that video is. We don't have control over that.
Well, that's why I would just the citizens forum, because that's legally not required. So we say Joe Bob spoke, link to this video. If that video disappears, we're still not. I mean, my understanding is this is a bonus. If the video disappears, then it disappeared.
And we maintain audio longer than we really need to, but it's not going to be forever either, which is.
Right, and that's why we have to have the written summary stuff for council action, because that's what's legally required. We have to have that to say, this is how we voted, it was 5-0, it was 4-1, this is who objected, et cetera, et cetera. We have to have that, we have to have the roll call, we have to have a few other things. But citizens' comment, we don't have to have anything. We would actually be going above and beyond to say, Joe Bob spoke, and this is a link to the video where they spoke.
Yeah.
So we could do that. The question is how to make sure that everybody feels comfortable that the spirit of whatever it was they said, and I agree with you in this particular case, those particular comments, we could probably clean that up and to make sure that everybody gets that it was referring to one specific person. But as we take, I'm trying to look further on, if we take this further on, everybody who speaks, if we're not doing verbatim word for word, then we're having to put Courtney or whoever in the future in this position of trying to interpret, well, what was the spirit of what they were trying to say? How can I condense their 3 minutes of talking down to 3 sentences and still capture every piece that they wanted to say?
So how difficult is that to like say, if tonight, if you just wanted to put a link at agenda item 12 to start citizens forum, how difficult is that?
That's not hard. The only thing would be, are we gonna put like just their name? Are we gonna put no name and just link it straight to
No,
that part of the
I
video?
mean, like if they pulled up the minutes, if they
Talking about
pulled
doing
up
the
the
whole
minutes,
agenda.
and next to citizens forum, it had a link.
Well, the
YouTube
problem with your
video-
media is it's
YouTube
not,
video
it's not
here.
indexed. Your media is not indexed, meaning there's no markers anywhere in the audio or video that you can link a URL to.
Yeah, you can, and when YouTube, you can put the little T.
But it'd be the whole meeting. It wouldn't start at citizens forum.
Yes, you can set it
Right,
to
you're
start
gonna
at
link to the
citizens
whole
forum.
meeting. If you wanna, to me, if you're gonna go that route, then you can go back to like what we discussed earlier on, where you want a indexed meeting and they break it all out for you. You know, I guess in my mind, I always try to think outside, not trying to reinvent the wheel. There's already a system out there that does it. So, you know, we elected not to go that route just simply because we didn't feel we were getting the benefit out of it or would get the benefit out of it. But, you know, there's a dollar amount attached to that. And, you know, we can index the meetings and they can be linked online to the agenda. Every point in the minutes can be linked to that audio or video clip. So it's as transparent as you can possibly get.
But you can do that now with, you know, the little button says link to this time point.
If we're going to take the time ourselves, staff time, to link in, add URLs in the minutes, and then link into the YouTube video, which is not permanent. That's why I would strongly not be in favor of that. If we're going to do that, then we need a permanent video storage solution where we maintain that, because YouTube, well, I don't think would be the. I wouldn't put my eggs in that basket, because those links can break over the long term if you're trying to archive and maintain those minutes.
But we don't, all we're talking about is the long part of it. Our minutes, our legal minutes is what's in paper, and this is why we chose the summary and what's in paper. The video is just bonus, and if it's there for 6 months, if it's there for a year, 2, 3 years, I mean, I've been on YouTube and there's videos from the early 2000s. I mean, YouTube's not running around deleting stuff just for fun. And I think we can easily make these links to say, you know, Joe Bob spoke, click, you know, starting at, and you can just say, hey, 3 minutes into this video, or make it hot link where they click the button, the video starts up and it starts playing at this time.
And then once the videos are gone, they're just gone.
And if the videos happen to get deleted, so what? That's the way it is.
I think a lot of this was a bit of a surprise to Courtney tonight. We may be trying to jump to the conclusion without fully thinking about the options. So maybe we can look at putting some more detail on these minutes and then coming back, give you some time to think about how it could.
See what
Two good examples.
See what I can figure out. Yeah.
And we can come back and look at a more permanent solution.
I would agree with that. I would like to see that on the next
Definitely agree with
agenda.
that. I don't want to spend a whole bunch of money on it either. I mean, I've just pulled it up just to see. On the May 23rd meeting, we've had 56 views. So,
Right.
you know, what's the, you know, cost equation here that we're looking at? If we spend a bunch of
We
money.
do have
I can show them how to do it pretty easily in terms of the linking to exact time. And if the only thing we care about is citizens' comments, it's easy. It just takes a few more minutes to the other ones. 'Cause
We
know-
do have the ability to store audio and video, you know, for a longer period of time. So as far as archival, that's what I was mentioning earlier to Byron, we can archive that media, you know, and link it in for a longer period of time. It's not necessarily, don't need a real reliance on you to use or not to use YouTube. We have the ability to archive that data. So, you know, if we want to do, you know, a link in the minutes, we can handle it. That's not a problem. We just need to determine how long we determine we're going to maintain that media, because we're not required to, since the written minutes are their official record. If we're going to we're going to keep the minutes, we're required to keep the written minutes forever, then we can say we keep the audio and video for 3 years or 4 years or what have you.
Okay, so we had a motion to table. We had a second. Do we have any more discussion? I think staff's got some direction. All in favor of tabling?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0 to table agenda item number 11. We will move into agenda item number 12, and I didn't have anybody sign up. Going once, going twice.
We were just talking about the Civic Club. Marty, Lori, I, and Nancy Morris ran it for 10 years. We did all the things that they're doing now. We also gave away scholarships, 2 scholarships every year for $500. We never took a dime from you guys. It was all done by the people of Shenandoah. They paid their dues. We went around collecting it. We were able to do everything you guys do now without bothering. I don't understand what the whole thing is anymore. Why it's so difficult now to do the same thing we did with just 4 people.
I think Miss Dan just offered to give you some direction and input.
Yeah, I think so.
I'll be interested to see how your coffee date goes with her one day and what you come back to us with.
I'll order for a cup of coffee. We'll discuss it.
Thank you, Miss Dan.
It's Bill's fault.
Okay, we'll move from item 12 into item 13, which is council inquiry. And we'll start with Councilman Fletcher. We never start with you.
I guess that's probably why I didn't bring anything tonight. I'm good.
No inquiries.
I'm good.
Fantastic summer.
I am good as well. Just as always, grateful to our staff. Happy to have our city administrator back. And appreciate all y'all's hard work. So with that, since we don't have anything else on the agenda, we will adjourn the meeting at 7:56 p.m. Thanks for coming, everybody.